Welcome back to the Sidebar podcast. And hi.
Hello.
Well, this is our guest. This is singer, songwriter, and good vibes, future god rock legend, superstar herself, Gabby Rivers.
Woo!
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. I'm so excited. Like after months of us planning for you to come on the Sidebar podcast, you're finally here.
I know. We haven't had it booked in for ages, which is so good.
Yeah.
I've been excited. I love listening to podcasts and like everything. So when you messaged me, I was like, yes, absolutely.
This is it. We said after we came and saw your show at Voodoo Daddies.
Yeah.
We just came up. We're like, we're not going to mention the podcast. We came up just to be like, that was an awesome show.
Yeah.
And you were like, Rob, we need to do the podcast soon.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Should we start with a drink? Let's
Yeah.
start with a drink. No, thanks. So we're actually not doing a beer this time because you have said you prefer a cider. So we decided to get a cider that hopefully you haven't had before, which is this is award winning as well.
Ooh.
They've won a Good Taste Award 3 years in a row, and this is the Saxby's original Crafty Pig Cider House cider as well.
Thank you. Gluten free as well.
Gluten free, and it's vegan as well. Vegan and gluten free.
You're going to try and open it.
We also normally do a pour off, although I'm a little bit worried about this because you work in a bar.
A pour off? Oh my god, yeah.
How are your pouring skills?
I thought they were quite bad, but last night I poured like one of those 0% Guinnesses.
Oh yeah.
And looked amazing. Like everybody in the bar was like, that looks incredible, and I was like, what can I say?
Yeah, we haven't done a stout yet. Like, we should have stout at some point.
Yeah.
They're not your favourite then, are they?
They're not my favourite.
It wasn't my favourite either, but we went to the Guinness factory in Dublin.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And I think it makes you fall in love with, like, Guinness, like, and stout, like, beers and stuff. Yeah. Like, they taught us, like, a tactic of how to drink it. You're supposed to, like, oh my god, I'm trying to remember. You have to, like sniff it as you're drinking it, and then you have to like gulp it and then like exhale, if that makes sense. So you like go like gulp and then exhale, and it's supposed to like make it taste better, and it's easier to drink as well.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really interesting going to the Guinness factory because you end up like also appreciating like how much effort and energy they've put into their work. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, we'll have to do a sidebar trip to the Guinness factory. Cool. Yeah, so cool. I'll take Cooper and Charlie with us. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we're gonna have a pour off. Okay. So yeah, how good we haven't done a cider. I think cider's like less bubbly anyway. Maybe.
Yeah, it is. And I feel like it's just.
I don't really ever drink cider.
No pills.
No. Yeah. To be fair, it's less a pour off these days and more just seeing if I can pour a drink without actually spilling. Oh yeah, well cheers, thank you so much for coming on. So it's really top and then bottom. Yeah. So top, bottom and
nice, I like that.
Trying to get everyone to do it. That's really nice actually.
That is good.
Most of the cider that I do drink tends to be like Strongbow.
Yeah.
Which is like super sour and bitter.
It also like throws you back to like me being at a festival when I was 15.
Yeah.
Like scarred.
Me drinking in a park on the council estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. We were talking, just before you got round here, we were talking about when we first ever saw you play. And I was like, oh yeah, that was at the Tiny Umbrellas gig. But actually it wasn't. So we were walking through Chatfield Gardens during the Norwich and Norfolk Festival. And we were like, what is that voice? And we stopped and we watched you play and we were like, that was really good. And then we carried on with our lives. And then like 2 weeks later, we woke up, we were like, let's go see some live music. And we found this band called Tiny Umbrellas, who are another obviously awesome band.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah, let's go see them. And who was supporting them but Gabby Rivers?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah. And then that was probably the smallest gig you've done?
Yeah, I actually have like a really funny story to say. I don't know if it's funny, but it's like because it was so small and like tiny for me, and like everyone was so up close and personal. It was like the first ever gig in a long time that I'd done that. I used to do back when I was like 12 in my hometown, like Sudbury area. There was this gig up in the theatre in their bar area. They would do like acoustic, like small gigs, and everyone would like sit down and it would be silence. And I used to play them all the time, and I got used to it, and then I just stopped doing them because they actually stopped those gigs up in the Key Theatre. So then I obviously came here, and I've been used to like playing with crowds, and like it's like everyone's like, you know, might be drinking or talking, and like it's a whole venue, and I've never played Lowell before, and I've always wanted to, and then everyone was like really up close and personal, and it almost took me back to like 12-year-old me. But this time it was kind of like, you know, my music had progressed. I was playing Nick was playing the cajon, and it was just like very different vibes. And I genuinely, like, I had a little mini panic attack on stage because I was like, oh my god, everybody's listening to me, and like I could see there was musicians in the room, and I just felt like really scared, like the first 2 songs. And then after the set finished, we had such a good reaction from everybody that I just felt like, oh my god, that was 100% worth it. Like, it was such a fun gig, and that period of time I just like had like such amazing gigs, and it just felt really like, I don't know, like a progression in my career almost. And the reason kind of why I wasn't originally supposed to move to Norwich for like months and months, and I just kind of like pushed it forward because I was doing so much here and progressing so quickly. So yeah, that was a very good gig.
It was really good, and that's because So Rowan said afterwards, like, and that was after was it Ben played as well, and then obviously Tiny Umbrellas came on, and we were walking home, and Rowan was like, I can't stop thinking about how good Gabby's voice is live, and we were like, it was very good. But yeah, that was awesome. And then we came and saw you at Voodoo Daddies, which was your first ever sold out headline show.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was such a good show. I obviously just recently moved to Norwich, like literally like 3 months before, and it was kind of like the first like big gig, like releasing the EP, like all the things that I'd like worked towards that year happened in that moment. And that was also the first gig that there was. The past year I've had so many people come to the gigs, and you see like loads of different people singing my songs, but that was the first one there was like literally everybody was singing, and I was like, this is crazy, like everyone knows my songs and the words, and it was a really, really good show. And the band was just really tight as well. It was the first time we used the SPD, which is like the drum track that we play with. Was it the first time we used the SPD? I think it was, but yeah. It sounded amazing. I think what was helpful is that we actually like was practicing at Voodoo's, so we actually managed to like get the sound for the SPD like perfect, which you don't usually get in a lot of venues. So I think that really helped, because a lot of my new stuff is like there's some electronic parts to it that you can't necessarily create live, so it was nice that we could just like add that in and like show progression in the music, which we hadn't done as of yet, and now that we are doing that, our live set is like pretty solid at the moment, which is really cool. So,
it was super tight. Obviously we're excited. In fact, we haven't done a song of the week yet this week, but our first ever song of the week for the Sidebar podcast was Paradise. Like, we're so excited.
Do you know what, I love that one. I think for me, Paradise is like, that was the first release of like I feel like the kickstart of my career, because I released this I released an EP, my first ever EP, which is called Headache, and it felt just kind of like I was just getting that music out there because I collected it over a really long period of time, and I wanted to show people like, this is my music. Hopefully it could get me some opportunities, and it did. I got to play like Latitude and did all these really big things out of just releasing that one piece of music. But then I kind of hid away for ages, and I wrote like Paradise and and Bored and Roused, and I wrote like loads of different songs, and I decided to release those 3. And Paradise was the first one, but it kind of felt like I didn't think it was going to do well. Like, honestly, I was like, this song is not going to do well. But literally everybody says. Everyone's like, oh my god, that's my favourite song. And this is so funny. The band actually, like, sometimes they'll be like, can we not play Paradise today? Like, can we not do that? But I know that some people come in will be like, why don't you play Paradise? So we always put it in. And every single time we do put it in, it ends up being really fun to play. And it's such a good song to, we usually play it like 3rd or 4th in the set. And it just gets like people going. We had it at the art centre with like the backdrop, which is like paradise in a backdrop.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. It was such a vibe. Nice. It's how everybody should live their life, is like having that song as their mindset. Just like, go to party, do what I want, don't judge me. It's my life sort of thing.
Yeah, and that was it. We were, me and Rowan were driving. I think we just went for a random drive last summer. And I had my phone plugged in and it was just playing free music, and that came on, and it was just the right moment to like put the windows down, turn it right up, just driving with the beach on one side of us. It was awesome.
But that is so crazy you said it, because that is literally what I pictured. When I got the first like mix back from it and I was listening to it on my headphones, that's exactly what I pictured. I was like, that's why I wrote it. Is like, it's the summer anthem. I released it in the summer. And I honestly love it. It puts me in a good mood, which is what matters.
We've got to talk about some of your obviously newer music as well. The new EP, Disappointed but Not Surprised.
Yeah.
That's done really fucking well straight away,
crazy,
isn't it?
Yeah. Every time I like think about it, I get so overwhelmed. It feels like I released it like years ago, but it only happened like 4 or 5 months ago, which is so crazy to me because there's so much that has happened off the back of it. And I'm so overwhelmed that it did that well. I didn't think it was going to do that well, and I think now that it has done that well, all I want to do is just record and write more music, because if only 4 tracks can do that well and get that much like hype, imagine if I write like 30 songs and release like 4 or 5 this year. Imagine how much people will like those as well. It's kind of like that. That's my mindset, and I'm really lucky that because we live as a band, we've just had so many ideas. Even with the EP, it's like the band have helped a lot with just like coming up with promotion ideas and like getting it out there and sharing it. And like I think because we all got like this group of people in Norwich that are also lovely, like it's helped really push it, which is great. And crazy times.
Obviously you guys all live together, like band, right? So is there, how many arguments do you, because I know, because we spoke about this briefly on Instagram, Boredom Rose is obviously written about Nick, right?
It is.
Who is your boyfriend / drummer.
Yes, he is. Do you know what? Nick actually was never originally gonna be the drummer in the band. I had a drummer that was
so you're like writing shit about
him. I was like,
Nick won't have to play
he'll
this.
never know. It was kind of more the case that I had this drummer for like 5 years, and he started to go to uni in Leeds, and then basically was like travelling for gigs, like for just like one night, and said to me like, I can't keep on travelling, and I was like, yeah, that's fair enough. So he dropped out just as festival season started, and we had so many festivals booked in. We had like big festivals. Well, I remember we were doing like a small set at Reading Festival. We were doing Secret Garden Party, which was my biggest festival that year. And I panicked, and obviously Nick, being like a good boyfriend, could see that I was panicking and getting overwhelmed. And he was like, it's fine, like I know your songs, like I will just do the sets for you this summer until you find a new drummer. He freaking smashes it out the park, and then we end up like, the whole band basically came to me like when Nick wasn't there one day and was like, please can we actually like started like playing with other drummers, and they were like, please can we
Nick
can we keep Nick?
Like
Nick is so good and he's so great to work with. And at the time we also found Sam, who sometimes drums with us, and it actually is so nice just like being able to, because Nick's like quite busy with like engineering as well, because he does that as a job, so he sometimes when he can't drum, like we have Sam, and Sam's like so talented as well. But it's funny, like whenever we gig with Nick, and then I'm like, this song's called Boredom Rouse, and obviously most of the crowd don't know that like Nick's also my boyfriend, and sometimes it's very entertaining. I remember at Voodoo's when we were playing, before I'd introduced Boredom Rouse, there was girls like saying, oh, the drummer's so fit, like they were shouting like the drummer's so fit, and in my head I'm like, girl, that's my boyfriend. Like I don't want to say that because I'm like, they're here to like watch us as a band, but I just find it so funny. But every time I say like this song is called Boredom Rouse, it's about my boyfriend, like it's so awkward but hilarious at the same time. But when I first wrote it, I always thought that Boredom Rouse was about me being angry and like, oh, screw Nick, like, I hate arguing with him.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, after I kind of like looked at the lyrics in depth more and kind of thought about the song, it's like, if you listen to the lyrics, it's actually about me being like, at a period of time when I was like mentally not doing okay, and it's actually about me taking it out on Nick and it causing arguments. So deep down, the song is actually about me being in the wrong. But for a long period of time, it was just kind of like me jokingly saying, oh, this is about us arguing all the time, but like there's actually a deeper meaning to it, which is always interesting. Like I never really get to talk about that. It's kind of just funny on stage to like make a joke out of it, but yeah, it's nice that it's got like an actual meaning to it, and me admitting for once that I was in the wrong.
Yeah.
Nick's like, yeah, you were.
Yeah, that smile on his face as well, just like, thank you for finally saying.
After like 2.5 years.
So you heard it here first. Gabby's wrong and Nick is right.
Yeah, sometimes.
One of the other things that we need to talk about is your first play on Radio 1 last year, and BBC introducing.
Yeah, it was
huge.
It was crazy. I remember at the time I was in hairdressers. So I said to myself last year, I was like, I've got 2 goals for this year. Like I truly believe in manifesting. I'm like, if you've got the mindset that you can do it, you can do it. Like there's no reason why it can't be. And every single year I have like this manifestation about 1 or 2 goals in music, because I don't believe that like I used to have like loads and it was just like not achievable, I would say. So now I just do like pick 1 or 2. And last year I want to play the art centre, like no matter what, even if it was in the bar area, I wanted to play the art centre in Norwich. And then I wanted to get my first Radio 1 play, and I was in the hairdressers, and Two Face had been out a good like month or 2, and Moneymaker had been released as well. So my mindset was like, you know, now Moneymaker's been released, like Two Face is going to get no recognition anymore. And I was actually working with two of my music friends. They own a small independent PR company, and I was actually working with them at the time. And I basically said like, these are my goals. I want this and this to come out of the EP. And I said, but my main thing is that I just want to be heard to Radio 1. And they were like, Radio 1 is impossible to get played on, like it probably won't happen. And they have meetings with like the Radio 1 producers, lots of PR companies, like once a week they get in a room with the Radio 1 producers and they say, this is a really exciting artist, we really think they're amazing, like please listen to them. And either the Radio 1 producer will be like, not interested, or they'll be like, yeah, maybe. There's never a like 100% they are going to be on it. And BBC Introducing have like sent my tracks to Radio 1 before. Boredom Rouse got listened to by the producers at Radio 1. You get an email through every single time Radio 1 listen to your tracks.
Right.
But it always says at the bottom like it's never guaranteed play. And in 2022 I got like 3 emails saying like Radio 1 has listened to your track, but there's a high chance that it won't, like you can't guarantee play. And it was like heart-wrenching because I was like, it was my one goal, didn't get it that year. And then obviously I get this email come through to say that they listened to Two Face, and I was like, I'm not going to think anything of it. They'd obviously like pushed it, and the PR company was like, we generally think Moneymaker's going to do better. You know, we'll probably push Moneymaker more. So they didn't even like really try with Two Face. And then I just get a text from them like, you're getting played on Radio 1 tomorrow night. And I was in hairdressers, and I was like, oh my god, I was literally trying not to scream or freak out. I was like, oh my god. And I texted Nick, I was like, Nick, you'll never guess what. And he was like, you've got a support slot, like a festival? And I was like, no, Radio 1 play. And he was like, are you actually being serious? And I was like, no. And then they basically played it, and it on a really cool show as well. Like I thought it was going to be on like the Introducing show, but it ended up being on like Future Alternative. And if you like ever look through their show, which I definitely recommend, like people do, like the music on there is insane. There was like the coolest bands, like bands that I look up to, like amazing rock bands and pop punk bands and everything, to see my name on there, like, and listening to it on the radio was just crazy. It was like genuinely the highlight of my year last year, along with the headline show. So yeah.
Yeah, BBC introduced, like, even that alone is huge, but then for them to actually play it on such a cool show on Radio 1.
And that's the thing, I think, because like Two Face and Moneymaker did so well, and then I remember I got a message like right towards the end of last year, like a couple of weeks ago, and Angel from BBC Introducing was like, "Oh, Rethink Restart is like placed like in the top 4 of tracks of the year." Like it was like, it came 4th, and I was like, I never thought Rethink Restart was even going to get any recognition. So the fact that it did the best on BBC Introducing, like out of all of my tracks, was just like crazy. Like it was so good to see that got recognition as well. And the BBC Introducing team like have supported me so much, and still to this day, like hearing my track on the radio, I freak out every time. Like I got an email last week, they got played, and I was like, what the hell? So yeah.
Do you get an email every time they play it then?
Yeah. Nice. It's been like, I've been really lucky that the past couple of months, like my EP has been played, like each track has been played like once a month or a couple times a month, like one of the tracks has, and I still get surprised. Like I thought it was going to get a couple of plays and that was it, but it's just, the support keeps on coming, and I just, every time I get that email through, like I always post my story like, thank you for doing this. It always feels bizarre. So yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's I was looking into BBC Introducing, and there's people like Ed Sheeran started there, George Ezra, Royal Blood, Catfish in the Bottle, Florence and the Machine.
A lot of artists.
And Gabby Rivers.
Oh, honestly, I hope so. That'd be the dream. A lot of artists do start out on BBC Introducing. I think it's like the main thing is BBC Introducing have like the contacts to push you to the next level. So they have like, you know, the emails for like Radio 1 and Six Music, and you know they have like gig opportunities in London and festivals and Maida Vale sessions, so they have so many opportunities that they can give artists. And the nice thing about the Suffolk BBC Introducing, and you know where I'm from, they get like slots at Latitude each year on top of like all of the other BBC Introducing slots. So it means that they can give a good amount of artists like you know, recognition, which is really nice. I find that I think they get like BBC Introducing, Latitude slot, Reading, Maida Vale, Big Weekender, and there's a couple of others. So they get like 6 or 7 slots to give to 7 different artists or bands. And that can change a band's career, which I think is amazing that they can do that. And it's nice that they don't just do that for one person each year. So it doesn't ever feel competitive. I think people think that the music industry is like crazy competitive, but I think it's nice that they give these like equal opportunities out. So
I think historically it has been super cutthroat, right? And I imagine when you get like you're starting out, and I think everything's quite friendly, and then when you hit like megastar, everything's quite friendly because you're a megastar. It's that in between.
It is, and it is definitely, there is like certain parts and people that are cutthroat, which is why I'm always like, anytime I get like a message from anyone that wants to like maybe collaborate or like have a meeting or like anything, I'm quite lucky that I'm surrounded by people that will also probably look over the message and help me and guide me, because I think we're all aware in the back of our heads that it is cutthroat and you could be going down the wrong route. So I always like try to make sure that like I'm not doing the wrong thing. And Norwich is a great place for it as well, because a lot of bands in Norwich do really well. And they
Are you okay? It's okay, you're allowed to have a cough. That's fine, yeah.
Holding it in makes it 10 times worse.
Are you okay? Are you just choking on air?
Get water,
okay, yeah, you run away.
Go get some water.
Thanks, Ro. I think it can be, but I think you're right. I think Norwich is quite a nice place for it to start. Especially like with the art uni here, and sort of Norwich is, especially more so as well, is turning into a super alternative sort of city.
And I think because there's a lot of bands that are doing well, and we've all like experienced different things at different points. So we all like seem to advise each other and help each other out rather than like keeping it a secret. And I think because everybody is so nice, like we feel the need to just like help each other, which is really good. So I definitely think there's like a lot of like businessmen in the music industry, and it's very like strict sometimes, and they can a lot of like big labels and stuff I've heard from people, they just kind of care about the money side of it. But a lot of artists, like big artists, are now going independent. Like it's becoming a normal thing, and I think that makes it feel like it's more within reach. When I first started out, I was like, I'm just gonna do it for fun and see where it goes. Whereas now I'm seeing, you know, artists that I look up to, like one of my favourite singers is a girl called Ray, and she's amazing, and she's now gone independent, and she's kind of made me think that it's possible. Like, yeah.
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Sure?
I've had a tickly cough for ages, and I've been back there like, don't cough.
That's okay.
Okay.
Cool. So, yeah, you write. Obviously, you write a lot of songs.
Yes.
And I mean, there was that period where Two-Face, then Moneymaker, then Bug Bite. I think that's the order, right?
Yeah.
They came out like in super quick succession.
Yeah.
And I know that you're working on more stuff now.
I am, yeah.
But before we get into that, what's sort of, I guess, where do you get inspiration from, and also what's your favourite song that you've written of yours?
Oh, I like that question. Inspiration wise, it generally comes differently each time, but I find that, like, this sounds so horrible of me, it's very Taylor Swift vibes. It's like, if anybody annoys me or upsets me, it's got to be done, you know?
That's
like,
very Taylor Swift.
Yes, if anybody makes me angry or upsets me, instead of, like, I try not to, like, necessarily, if it really affects me, I try not to, like, necessarily hold on to it, but as soon as I, like, write it and songwrite it down, it almost feels like that situation has surpassed, and I can now, like, I've now got a song out of it. It's like a benefit. I definitely get inspiration from things like upsetting me or making me angry. But like guitar wise and like writing it wise, it's changed a lot recently, and I think I prefer the way that I now write. But for a long time, it's kind of just been like me playing about on the guitar. Or maybe on like a MIDI keyboard, and just coming up with a really basic chord progression, which then I can, you know, like songwrite to it. And then I just kind of like record it on voice memos and then share it with the band, and then the band like help me make a song out of it. So we will do it in a band rehearsal. I'll be like, this is how the song goes. And we might just like focus on the chorus, add the drums, add the guitar. And then it slowly forms, like, we generally like play a song live quite a lot first, and then we record it, which seems to work really well. But recently, now that a couple of us live together, it's more so that we just have writing sessions. So we'll say, like, is anybody free this day? And we all get together, and then somebody will have like a chord progression or an idea, and we just like record down a track, and then I write to it, which I really, really like, because I think that it helps me a lot as a songwriter to be able to just focus on the lyrics and actually what I'm talking about. And especially because a lot of the genre that we're now going down, which is really exciting, everyone in the band listens to that genre. So I can say, like, this is what I'm going to write about, and then, you know, Stan, who I live with, he'll just be like, this is the chord progression for it. And it has made me enjoy like writing even more. And if you said to me a year ago that I wanted to write an album, I would laugh in your face. Like, writing an album has petrified me for years, and I've put it off. I've been like, I don't want to write loads of songs, I just want to like write a few and focus on them. But now all I want to do is like, I want to write like 60 songs this year, and then choose like 10 of them for an album. And that's the main goal, is like, this year it's right, we've already got a few to release, so we're gonna definitely release them, but like towards the end of the year, we're just gonna start writing an album, which is really exciting, and seeing like where it goes. But yeah, and I'd say my favorite song that I've ever written is, I've got two, either Rethink Restart, which is already out, it's like, it means the most to me, and it's the most relatable, like, still to this day, even though I wrote it like a year and a half ago, or my up and coming song that's going to be released soon, called Dig Me, because it's just like all of my inspiration of the bands I listened to, like Florence and the Machine, Nothing But Thieves, Wolf Alice, like all those bands that I have loved, it's like if they had a baby, it would be that song. And it's something that the song is basically about people only being interested in you when you're doing well and when you're like being successful. Like I haven't spoken to somebody in years, and I like love them as a person, and they just like slowly like disappeared and they weren't interested in me anymore. And I didn't really know why, because we were so close. And then I started to do like music started to really pick up like the middle of last year, and they just like started messaging me again, and I was like, you haven't spoken to me in like 3 years, why all of a sudden are you interested? And then, I was getting like the Radio 1 play and like the streams, and they were just constantly messaging me like congrats, which is like really nice. But I was like, why are you like all of a sudden wanting to know me again? It just felt it made me feel really like upset, and but also uncomfortable at the same time. I didn't know how to react. So I wrote this song called Dig Me, and it's like the lyrics are like, you only dig me when I'm high. And I like that lyric because it can literally mean anything, for anyone. I love that, and I love playing it live, and so does the rest of the band. So that's what matters.
That's very exciting. New music. Cool. So obviously it's a new year.
Yes.
Before you go into what is going to be happening in 2024, I have prepped you for this question as well. What did your Spotify Wrapped look like?
It was crazy. That's what it was. We ended up, I think the streams that I got in that year was like over 50,000, and my Wrapped like the year before was like 10,000. So big jump. And the monthly listeners the year before, like my maximum amount of monthly listeners was 1,000, and then my maximum amount of monthly listeners last year was 20,000. And I think like country wise, the amount of, I can't remember like the exact statistics, but the amount of countries that listened to my music was like insane. It was like so many places that I wouldn't even realize people listen to my music there's a lot of places in like America and like Australia, and it's just, I get messages sometimes, people saying to me, oh, when are you gonna come gig in, I don't know, Australia or America? And I'm like, I can't even gig outside of East Anglia like at the moment. So yeah, it was something I literally hate posting my Spotify Wrapped online. Like I will not do it. I think every single year I'm not going to do it, because sometimes I think I almost like feel like it's not good enough, and I'm not proud of myself to post it. But last year I was like so proud of myself, and I felt like that those like numbers are what I've dreamed for a really long time. So I was kind of like, I'm gonna post it because I'm proud of myself, and that's the only reason why I did. And it was like a goal of mine, and yeah, it was really, really great. So
That's really cool. So you went from 10,000 to 50,000.
Yeah, which is crazy in streams, which is mental. Spotify, if any artist knows, it's like, it feels like a maze. Like it feels like you don't really know how to approach it. But luckily enough, like when I released this EP, I was like, I want to have a good team behind it. I want to talk to the right people. I want to learn. I want to get to know Spotify. And there's this one guy that I've had who used to like come and teach my college, and I messaged him loads, and we spoke loads about Spotify and the things that I could do to help like promote my profile. So I did that with like talking to him, and did a lot of work behind the scenes with that. And then the PR company, I was so specific with like exactly what I wanted, and like what I listed like so many bands that inspire me. I listed like so many playlists that I was interested in. Like I did so much research for them to like understand the goal, because you can go to any PR company and be like, I want to get loads of streams, but it's like, cool, we can't just do that for you. They need to know like in depth. And I know a lot of bands like just think you just go to a PR company and they do all the work for you, But I didn't want that, because it's like, then there's less of a chance of it doing well. I kind of felt like if I did the research as well and gave them like specific points, it just helps their job and helps me make sure I'm getting the right things.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than like having an indie alternative track and it getting played on a folk playlist because, you know, you haven't been specific with your PR company of what you want. So I was like, I don't want that to happen. This is what I like. And it's helped because I spent a very long time in the music industry being like the young girl that's like, oh, I'll just let everyone do what they want and I'll just sit back and be quiet. And then last year I had so many people just say like, don't do that anymore. And now I just am very specific. I know how to say no now, which is like so important. And it's helped me save a lot of time and energy, and that's helped me then put it into like what I love in the music. So yeah,
I think that's so important as well, to be able to say no, because obviously this is your music, and you see so many people like online or in the papers who eventually they become resentful of even getting into the industry because of what it turned them into, because they didn't say no.
Exactly. I had it for a really long time, like even with just like recording, I would work with producers and they would do stuff to my tracks that I hated, or like even when songwriting, like I love the band, but like sometimes like a year ago they would like change the lyrics and I wouldn't know how to say no. But luckily enough, like Nick is doing well in his career, and he's only done that by being like cutthroat with himself and like knowing what works. And he kind of said like, you know, learn how to say no, like learn how to stick up for yourself. Because I'd come back from like production sessions and he'd be like, oh, how did it go? And I'd say, oh well, I didn't like this, but I didn't know how to like say no to it, so I just let it happen. And now I don't really like the song, and I've just wasted like my own money on paying a producer to help me finish a track. And we would have a conversation about it. But oh, you need to like learn to say no and stick up for yourself. And then I started to do that, and it just helped me gain more success. And then I think I learned like how to just like be more brave. I think even with like asking for things, like messaging. I remember I saw the Coach Party playing Art Centre. People were like, how did you get that? Like, you are so crazy. Like, they assumed I got asked, and I was like, I messaged the guy from Art Centre that books the gigs, and I got his email, and I said, I really like Coach Party. Here's some music that's like, I think here's my music. Like, I think we'd suit the lineup. If we could support them, that would be amazing. We've never played Art Centre before. At the time, we were living, like, Nick and Stan were living behind the Art Centre, so we wouldn't have to like get paid, have to have paid for travel or anything. I explained this all, and that's how we got the gig. And I remember Nick said to me, like, right at the start of last year, he was like, if you never ask, you'll never know. Like, he said that in a quote, and I was like, that is so true. And that is just like with everything in life, and that has helped me with anything in life. Just, you know, if you never ask about anything, you're never gonna know. It could help you. It could help gain things.
Look at Nick dropping pearls of wisdom.
He does. Though. He said to me, I was having like a full-on breakdown a couple of weeks ago after work at like 2 a.m. I was like just worrying about everything and anything, and he was just like, just listen. He just listened to me right, and he goes, well, he said something like, if you spend so much time worrying, you're not going to spend a lot of time doing. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's so true. So yeah, he's
come see me about the next TED talk if you want.
Yeah, he actually should just like become a therapist at this point. Like, screw the music career. Like,
yeah, that's super. So I guess the last question is, you obviously spoke about manifesting and that you're really into it. What are you manifesting for 2024 and beyond?
I really, really, really am manifesting releasing. I want to release 4 singles this year, and I want to create a lot with those 4 singles. I loved last year. I did like a lot of blogs and music videos and lyric videos, and I kind of want to like progress those and just give everybody loads of content between like 4 or 5 tracks this year. So I'm looking to release that and manifesting recording an album at the end of the year. That is like my goal. And I'd say like the main thing that I'm manifesting, because we didn't get to do it last year, I I've applied for like 25 festivals so far. Like, it's crazy. I spend like all of December just applying for festivals.
I feel like you're about to talk about what I was about to ask.
Oh, really?
Lee stock.
Oh, yeah.
I was worried about asking you this because whenever you get this question on Instagram, it's almost like, guys, I will tell you when.
It's honestly like really awkward, like talking about these things because you just don't know. Like a lot of big artists, they get booked like December, January time, but they don't book a lot of like independent and smaller artists until like March, April time. So I've applied for like loads and loads of festivals, and I just want to play festival season this year. Like I want to do like, and my manifestation is to do like one big one. That is just the goal. Like the main goal, I'd love to do. My goal, like my dream, is to do like either the BBC introducing Glastonbury slot or BBC introducing Reading and Leeds slot. Whether that can, like, it's kind of like a more of like a 2-year goal, like either this year or next year. But one of them is like my absolute dream, and I feel like having one of those festival slots will help me get like other ones, because a lot of some Norwich bands last year, Suds, Other Half, Bag of Cans, they all did like 4 or 5 festivals last year. Just like they had such a busy festival season, and it just, I think it really like helped their career, and it almost felt like it brought them all together. And that's like that is my biggest goal. Lee stock is such a tricky one. I've had like the biggest conversation with Nick about this, my dad about this, like the Lee stock team a little bit. They have supported me like so much since I started. So I started, this was my first festival when I played at 12, and then I've played like every single year since, like not including like the lockdowns. And every single year, so I started going on at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and now I play at like 6 at night, which is crazy. But every single year, I've played like every year, and there's a lot of artists that don't get to play Lee stock because like they put on a similar lineup like for the independent artists. This is like every year, and I haven't not played Lee stock in a long time, so I don't know whether this will be the year where I don't play Lee stock, which is so like controversial, and I feel like it's going to upset like so many people. But we don't find out until March anyway, so I might just be saying this and we might be offered it. But I usually do apply through like the band application system, but at the time of it opening, I was just like, I just don't think I'm gonna go through the band application system this year, because we've played loads, and I don't know whether like this year's going to be the change. Like I feel like we needed some sort of change, and we've done the same thing every year. We've played like the same gigs and the same festivals, and we just want like a big thing to happen to help us like push to the next thing. Also, another thing is that like I don't feel like that crowd, because it's a very similar crowd every single year, they never see like as much progression, because they see me every single year. And I think what would be so like refreshing for everybody in that area is to see me like not play 1 year and then like come back in like two years time, and they'd be like, how is that the same person? So we'll see, but there is a group of people who are like big fans of my music. They follow me on TikTok, they comment on everything, and they go to Lee stock every single year, and I don't want to break their hearts. Like I want to play like this. I love playing and I want to play, but it's just kind of like whether knowing if this year's the right year, because we've got like so much we want to write and record, and Lee stock is in like May time, so it's quite early on in the festival season. But we'll see. I do love it, and it is my home festival. We only live like 5 minutes away from it, so my family get very drunk. They get absolutely like that is the one period of time when my mum and my dad get trashed, and then we all just like go home and sleep. And that's another reason why I'm kind of like, maybe I just want to go like as a what do we call it? As a punter. Maybe I want to go as a punter this year. That could be fun.
Just go and get pissed at
because I always like, I can't like, I usually play on like the Saturday like early evening slot. So like the first day I can't even drink, and then the next day I'm too tired to drink. So maybe this year I'll go as a punter, but I feel like a lot of people will be like, you playing? No, I'm just here to
Yeah, I reckon by the Saturday afternoon, the amount of people coming up to you going, "Are you on?
Yeah,
Are you not playing today?"
yeah.
Like, that's gonna piss you off.
Yeah, I'll be like, ooh. But no, it's. I think it's really good to take breaks from like anywhere. Like as an artist, there's nothing more like annoying as an audience member to see like the same people being played all the time or the same bands being played all the time.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite refreshing to see a little break from somebody. Also means they'll sell more tickets the year after if they get to play again. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's about it. You have to promise that when you're a mega superstar, that you're going to come back. Hopefully, we'll still be doing these little podcasts. But it'll be in an actual studio, not our dining room.
Definitely.
But yeah, you have to promise to come back. When
I will.
Like
I promise. I always say to the least dog lot as well. They're like, if you ever get famous, you promise you're gonna like headline. I'm like, yeah, I'll headline like 5 times if you want.
Each night.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Gabby's EP, Disappointed But Not Surprised, is out now. Keep an eye out for all new music. We'll put a link to her Spotify in the description below as well. Thanks very much for watching. We're trying to hit a subscriber goal on YouTube at the moment, which is like 50 subscribers. That's it.
That's still pretty good.
That'd be a good goal to hit. That's what we're trying for. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. I've got to remember it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.